Hi everybody, it's Mrs. Hill here. I hope you're all well. I'm going to read you one of my favourite stories today, and it's called Owen and the Mountain. It's one of my favourite stories because it's about a boy called Owen, and my son is called Owen, and when he was a little boy I used to read this story to him a lot. So, can you see him on the front cover? Which one do you think is Owen? I wonder who this is. And oh, what kind of animal is that? Let's read the book. Owen and the Mountain. Owen went to stay with his granddad. Granddad lived on his own in a cottage at the foot of a mountain. He had no television, he had no car. It was a long time since he'd had a child to stay. "What would you like to do, Owen?" asked Granddad. Owen looked out of the window. All he could see was the great mountain rising up to the sky. "I suppose we could play a game," said Grandad, trying to think of one. "I don't want to play a game," said Owen. "I want to go up there." Grandad said nothing for a long time. "I'm sorry, Owen," he sighed. "You're too young to walk to the top of the mountain, and I'm too old." Later, Grandad went to Owen's room to say goodnight. He found him sitting by the window. "Grandad," said Owen, "the sheep can climb the mountain, even the old ones. Please, can we try?" Grandad sat next to him. "All right, Owen," he said at last. "If it's fine tomorrow, we'll try to climb the mountain." Early the next morning, Owen ran along the path. He stopped at the edge of the woods. "It's dark in there, Grandad," he said. "I don't like it." "It's all right, Owen," said Grandad, coming close. "Take my hand." "Can you hear the birds?" he whispered as they entered the woods. Owen heard the birds singing in the trees. They walked a little further. "Can you hear the wind?" said Grandad. Owen listened and heard the wind sighing in the leaves. "I like the woods, Grandad," said Owen. "I like the woods when I'm with you." The path up the mountain was steep and stony. It was easier for Grandad with his grown-up legs, but it was hard for little Owen. "I'm tired, Grandad," he said as they came to the bubbling stream. "Can we stop?" "Of course we can," said Grandad. "We can stop as often as you like." Grandad showed Owen how to cup his hands to drink the fresh, clear water, and they rested. "The path's not so steep now," said Grandad. "Would you like to ride on my shoulders?" "Oh, yes, Grandad." So Grandad lifted him up and bounced him along high in the air. "I like it here, Grandad. I like it in the mountains with you." Soon they came to a beautiful lake. Owen laughed, throwing pebbles into the shining water. He laughed some more as Grandad showed him how to choose smooth, flat stones and bounce them across the lake. "Isn't it wonderful, Owen?" said Grandad, stretching out on the grassy bank. "I could stay here all day." But Owen didn't want to stay. He wanted to get to the top of the mountain. "Come on, Grandad," he called, running off up the path. Slowly Grandad got to his feet. "Wait for me, Owen. Don't go on your own." Owen clambered up the steep slope. When he got to the narrow ridge, it was cold, so cold, and the wind took his breath away. Owen looked all around and he was frightened. He looked down and saw Grandad trudging up behind him, and he was glad. "Grandad," he cried, shivering. "I was scared." "It's all right, Owen," said Grandad, holding him tightly. "You're safe now." "I'm sorry I ran off, Grandad," said Owen. "I want to be with you now." "And I want to be with you, Owen," said Grandad. "Here, put on my jumper. You're freezing." He took off his big woolly jumper and put it over Owen. It reached down to Owen's knees and they both laughed. At last together they reached the summit of the mountain. Owen looked down and he could see the lake, the woods, and even Grandad's house, his tiny cottage in the distance. He looked up and there was nothing but sky. "We're on top of the world, aren't we, Grandad?" "We are, Owen," said Grandad, putting his arm round him. Owen snuggled in close and they were quiet. The way down was hard for both of them, and they had to stop many times to rest their weary legs. "My knees are like jelly," said Owen, catching hold of Grandad. "So are mine, Owen," said Grandad, steadying him. "But if we take it slowly, we'll be fine." As the long hard day turned to evening, they arrived back at the cottage. Grandad warmed up some soup, and then Owen squashed up beside him on the big cosy armchair. "I'm glad we climbed the mountain, Grandad," he said sleepily. "I'm glad I came to stay." "So am I, Owen," said Grandad, smiling. "So am I." I hope you enjoyed that story. Did you notice there were a lot of different animals in the pictures? If you watch it again, maybe you can count to see how many different types there were. I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody in nursery again very soon. Bye!